Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we have more evidence of the climate change hoax that is being exposed before our eyes. This out of whatsupwiththat.com. It says, how to push a climate crisis hoax. Florida's record ocean temperature. And we've been reporting lately on how they've been manipulating the data, the weather data across the board to make it look like places are at record highs. Instead of measuring the temperature at 2 meters above ground, they have been measuring the temperatures at ground temperature level and then claiming that we're seeing record high temperatures, which is false. At the same time, we have the ClimateGate emails from years ago that showed that all these climatologists were colluding with each other and getting money and faking data. We also have, of course, what recently happened. A whole bunch of climate researchers and climatologists came out to expose and blow the whistle on the climate change hoax. We did a video on it called Climate Change Hoax Exposed, Climatologists Blow Whistle, Massive Cover-Up. And in that video, which you could find on Rumble or BitChute or one of those places, they acknowledge that temperatures have not changed in 15 years and haven't gone up at all. And generally speaking, 1998 was the last most hot year on record worldwide, if we are looking at all data. And that was, back in 1998, 2 decades after they said that there would be an ice age. And it's been more than 2 decades since then. And they're back to, well, maybe it's an ice age, maybe the ice caps are melting. Well, pick one, because after an ice age, the ice caps will always melt. Well, nonetheless, with this latest story, we have more examples of the fraud, the way they fake data in order to push their agenda forward, which of course ends with 15-minute cities and food rations and gas rations and basically social credit scores, carbon credit scores, and the enslavement of mankind. So we're going to get into this and much more today, my friends. I urge people to check those links below and go to heavensharvest.com for long-term storable foods that are non-GMO, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started. We also have organic kits. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you get free shipping on much of these products in the U.S. And even if you don't qualify, I still urge you to use code WAM. Again, this could save your family. This could save your life, so you aren't eating that mRNA food in a ration line later on, eating Bill Gates food. My goodness, my friends, this is how we win against the Great Reset, and you need to get on it today. Stop waiting. They're destroying the food supply. They're using the climate hoax in order to do so, and this is your chance to shine. This is your chance to save your family's life, and you're actually already saving money on it versus inflation today. Never mind when the shelves are empty later by design and inflation is so much worse. Also, make sure to check out our GoGetFunding.com campaign as well as our Patreon and our Subscribestar to help support us in our film of regarding the 15-minute cities. I went to a 15-minute city, spent weeks there. I was reporting on it. I spent over $10,000. I have $0 in my account. I can't pay rent. I can't pay anything right now. So I'm pretty screwed, but it's all worth it for the truth. And thank you to those who've raised $4,316 thus far of that $10,000. I really appreciate it. You guys are the heartbeat of independent media, and you're keeping the truth alive. So check those links in the description. Anyway, let's get into this. So, as this article says, how to push a climate crisis hoax, Florida's record ocean temperature. Well, let's see how they are faking this data. It's by an article by Jim Steele. It says, the formula is simple. Take an extreme temperature limited to a period of a few days from only one extremely tiny location, then encourage clickbait media to push the narrative that it represents the climate crisis caused by CO2 and threatening the whole Earth. A buoy in Manatee Bay, managed by the Everglades National Park, is located north of Key Largo and indicated by the 2 red arrows illustrated below. And you could see on the map there, there's one version of it that's zoomed out. And it says here, the official buoy data, upper left graph, shows water temperatures bounced between 90 degrees Fahrenheit and 101 on consecutive 2 days, then plummeted to 85 to 86 Fahrenheit over the following days. Clearly, those water temperatures were being driven by dynamics other than rising CO2. Yeah, they changed over time. Nonetheless, the PBS NewsHour pushed notorious alarmist journalist Seth Borenstein's report, pushing the hoax with the title, South Florida water temperatures hits triple digits, may have set world record for warmest seawater. Everyone be scared. And New York Times pushes 101 Fahrenheit in the ocean off Florida. Was it a world record? See, if people just read the headlines, they'll always just think that this is true, and we cannot debate this. You're a climate denier, they'll say. Another scientist, despite attempting to sound an alarm, was unintentionally quite perceptive, saying, and I quote, "If you climbed in the water there, I'm pretty darn sure it would have felt like you're in a hot tub." Indeed, the science of solar ponds has shown when fresh water overlays saltier water, heat gets trapped, and temperatures can rise by as much as 60 degrees Fahrenheit higher than the surface at depths between 5 and 10 feet. Also, notice the Manatee Bay buoy measuring water temperatures at a 5-foot depth is located in a small embayment surrounded by landform that prevents mixing with cooler water and forms a natural hot tub. As seen in the enlarged illustration on the left, low winds and high-pressure systems further helped heat the bay, while muddy waters darkened the water, enhancing solar heat. And it continues here. To maintain the crisis hoax, it is also important to ignore conflicting data. Southern Florida has several buoys, some measuring water temperatures, some air temperatures, and some both. Just 56 miles to the southwest of Manatee Bay, the VAKF-1 buoy measured water temperatures that were 10 degrees Fahrenheit lower than Manatee Bay on those same days. And then it shows in the lower left graph, and then cooled 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, let's bounce up to those graphs. So we have the illustrations right there. Again, those air temperatures don't even approach being unprecedented. We're talking about temperatures way less. So it says it cooled to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Manatee Bay's buoy lacked air temperature data, but VAKF-1 reported a high air temperature of 91 degrees Fahrenheit, lower right graph, which then cooled to the low 80s, even dipping to 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Those temperatures don't approach being unprecedented. Again, we have the data up there. It says the hottest temperature ever recorded in the state of Florida was 109 degrees on June 29th, 1931. In Monticello, located over 400 miles north of Everglades National Park. According to Wikipedia, Everglades National Park's average minimum or maximum air temperature for July is 92.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and the record high for July was 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Nevertheless, Washington Post pushed extremely warm waters linked to record-setting heat over South Florida. The extreme ocean heat comes amid Florida's hottest July on record, trying to keep the climate crisis hoax alive. Yes, and as I've reported before, they have been caught red-handed looking at ground temperatures on the actual ground rather than the 2 meters that they usually measure at uniformly in most places in the world that determine temperatures, because you can't have the ground temperature because it sucks in heat and it holds heat, and it's not going to be the same as what you feel walking down the street. A good example is when you stand outside in, say, 115 degrees. Yes, it is very hot. I know I'm in Arizona, but here's the thing. You don't burn alive. Like, you don't feel yourself on fire. But have you ever put bare feet on concrete in those temperatures? You feel like you're going to get a third-degree burn because ground temperatures are different than air temperatures. And so it should be obvious to everyone, but nonetheless, it isn't obvious to everyone because the media continues to push this kind of narrative and tries to manipulate the numbers. And we have all these whistleblowers coming out, and we have this data now out of Manatee Bay, which goes to show, how far they'll push this hoax. Remember, it was almost 2 years ago now that Bill Gates said the next pandemic is likely to be caused by climate change, because the agenda was always to go from one invisible enemy to another, to another, to another. First one, it's this terrorist hiding under your bed. The next one is pandemics, everyone inject yourself with poison. The third one is climate lockdowns, using the previous two as a litmus for how they'll bring in these things with militant type restrictions, like 15-minute cities, which I've been reporting on for a while. And again, I did a documentary. I'm still shooting the documentary on it from an actual 15-minute city. I've done some reports on it as well. So that is the modus operandi here, is to give any excuse possible to scare people about an invisible enemy using a hoax in order to force us into the same kind of pandemic kind of controls under a climate policy. So you have carbon taxes in Canada, which I've been fighting for years, and that's why I got put on a watch list for calling out Trudeau in person over that issue. Of course, we're talking about things like carbon credits, and we've been talking about that for so many years at WHAM, going back to around 2014. We've been talking about it regarding the World Economic Forum's goal to use a cashless society to bring in these climate policies. And now, look, all that's happening. They're destroying the food supply by going after farmers and getting rid of, nitrogen pollution and fertilizers and all these different things, destroying the shipping industry, destroying the oil industry, all to starve you out. So you beg them for help, and they blame climate change, and they say because of climate change we need to get rid of farms, but also this lack of food is causing starvation, and it's caused by climate change. It's circular, it's absurd, it's obviously a hoax, it's obviously a lie. But that's how they get us, because if you don't have food, then you're going to be screwed. So people are weakened by, the way they've used convenience against us for so long, so they can't take care of themselves. So then they're in a position where they end up accepting whatever policy, whatever restriction they can get. So the zero COVID policies in China, where you couldn't leave your neighborhood, are now zero carbon policies worldwide, 15-minute cities. And banking apps are already putting carbon credits on apps across the board. In Canada, in the United States, in the UK, there's even a UK secret government nudge unit, which we've reported on several times, that is sneaking carbon credits into apps, and it's already documenting this. And we already know it's already in here, Fed Now in the United States, where social credit is involved. You have ESG scores, you have CI and DEI scores that across the board that are going after corporations, and now our version is a carbon credit, social credit scores on a CBDC under a new world reserve currency. They're only using this in order to force us into communism or technocratic Marxism. That's why China, like I've said in past videos, China isn't pushing the climate change agenda, because they're already communist, even though they're one of the most polluted countries in the world. It's because they don't care about that stuff. It's meant to cause the downfall of a civilization so they can move us into a new system. And so that's why they're not pushing this stuff in China. That's why Greta Thunberg, when asked about China, refuses to talk about China. And that's why they all fly in private jets to their climate change conferences, where they all have a laugh at our expense as they push further enslavement mechanisms onto us. So again, this is evil. This is going to get worse before it gets better. But again, at the end of the day, we all have the power in our own hands to resist this, to reject it, to say no. And a big part of that is just basic preparation, because they want to go after your ability to eat, your ability to take money out of the bank, your ability to have shelter, your ability to cool yourself in the summer and heat your home in the winter, your ability to just do basic things under the guise of guilt, like you're killing grandma. It's just like the pandemic nonsense that they pushed before. And that's why they've put out articles like this, and Bill Gates' next pandemic likely to be caused by climate change. Yeah, that's always been the goal.
I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline.
I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up.
If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?